The night the table exploded, when one flying plate changed everything. The room was supposed to smell like celebration. Warm lights shimmered against crystal glasses, cameras were tucked away, and laughter curled lazily around a long private dining table in Beijing. It was one of those industry dinners that never made it to the news. No red carpets, no microphones, just stars, insiders, and unspoken rules. Su Kai sat near the window, posture relaxed, smile polite, eyes sharp. Across the table, Tan Songyan laughed softly at something a producer whispered into her ear. The moment felt ordinary, harmless, until it wasn't. No one noticed the shift at first, the tightening of a jaw, the sudden stillness in Su Kai's hand as he paused mid-motion with his chopsticks. His gaze flicked to the end of the table, where she sat. His ex. Perfect posture. Perfect smile. Perfect timing. She leaned forward, lifting her plate as if to adjust it. A careless motion. An accident, some would later call it. But accidents don't aim. The plate tipped. Food flew. Sauce, rice, oil. An ugly splash that cut through the air and landed squarely on Tan Songyun's face. For half a second, the universe froze. A red stain bloomed across white fabric. A drop of sauce slid slowly from her cheek to her chin. Chopsticks clattered. Someone gasped. Someone swore under their breath. And Su Kai stood up. The chair screeched against the floor like a scream. "What did you just do?" he demanded, his voice low but shaking with something far more dangerous than anger. The woman, his past, froze, eyes wide, lips parted. It was an accident." Tan Songyun didn't move. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply closed her eyes. That, more than anything, shattered him. A smile too sharp to be innocent. Those who knew Su Kai well would later say this. He was calm. Always calm. But that night, calm abandoned him. He grabbed a napkin and crossed the distance in 2 long strides, gently wiping Tan Songyun's face, his hands trembling despite his care. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. She nodded once, still stunned. Behind them, the room buzzed like a live wire. Phones stayed in pockets, but eyes recorded everything. Industry dinners had no cameras, only witnesses. Su Kai turned back. His ex finally found her voice. "Kai, I swear I didn't mean to—" "You didn't mean to throw food at her face?" His laugh was sharp, humorless. "Then what exactly did you mean to do?" Silence swallowed the room. The producer at the head of the table cleared his throat, attempting peace. "Let's all calm down." "No," Su Kai snapped. "This isn't something you calm down from." He stepped closer, his shadow stretching across the table like a warning. "You walked into this room knowing exactly who would be here," he said. "You smiled. You waited. And then you chose humiliation." Her eyes glistened. "You're choosing her over me now?" That was the wrong question. Su Kai didn't raise his voice. "I'm choosing decency," he said. "Something you just threw away." The moment that should never have been seen. Tan Songyun finally stood. "I'm fine," she said, voice steady but soft. "Let's not make this worse." Her grace only fueled the fire. Su Kai turned to her, eyes dark with apology. "I'm sorry you had to be dragged into something that should have stayed buried." The word buried landed heavy. She offered a small smile, one meant to defuse a bomb. "It's just food." But everyone knew it wasn't. It was power. It was jealousy. It was a message delivered in sauce and silence. As staff rushed forward with towels and apologies, Su Kai removed his jacket and draped it around Tan Songyun's shoulders, shielding her from the dozens of staring eyes. That single gesture would later be described by witnesses as the moment everything changed. Whispers louder than screams. The dinner ended early. Cars pulled up. Doors slammed. Engines roared into the night. By morning, the industry was buzzing. No headlines. No official statements. Just whispers. "Did you hear what happened last night?" Su Kai lost his temper. "No," he defended her. "They say food was thrown. They say it was deliberate. They say Tan Songyun didn't even raise her voice." And then the most dangerous whisper of all. They say Su Kai is done being polite. Anger isn't always loud. Su Kai's anger didn't explode. It focused. In the days that followed, schedules shifted. Invitations disappeared. Calls went unanswered. Those close to him noticed the change, not reckless rage, but a razor-sharp clarity. He's done protecting people who hurt others, one insider murmured. Tan Songyun, meanwhile, said nothing. No posts. No interviews. No cryptic quotes. Her silence spoke volumes. Fans began to speculate. Edits surfaced. Old interviews were rewatched with new eyes. Every shared glance, every moment of laughter between the two was suddenly analyzed like evidence in a trial no one officially acknowledged. And in the shadows of it all sat the woman who had thrown the plate, now conspicuously absent from upcoming projects, her name quietly removed from guest lists. No public punishment, just disappearance. The cost of 1 second. 1 second. That's all it took. One careless, or calculated, motion to expose what politeness had hidden for years. The industry learned something that night. Not every battle is fought with words. Not every scandal needs a headline. And not every man stays silent when the line is crossed. Su Kai never commented publicly on the incident. But those who saw his eyes that night swear they'll never forget them. Not angry, not wild, but clear. Clear enough to say, enough. And Tan Songyun? She walked away with dignity intact, sauce washed away, reputation untouched. Sometimes, the most shocking moments don't destroy people. They reveal them. When the air turned sharp, the napkin in Su Kai's hand was already soaked through. He didn't realize it until his fingers brushed Tan Songyun's cheek for the third time, careful, almost reverent, as if the world beyond that small motion had ceased to exist. The noise of the room returned in fragments, chairs shifting, cutlery scraping, breath caught in throats. Someone whispered his name. He didn't look up. Sorry, he said again, quieter now, meant only for her. This shouldn't have happened. Tan Songyun inhaled slowly. The smell of sauce, sweet, sharp, humiliating, clung stubbornly. She hated that smell in that moment, hated how it tried to define the scene. It's okay, she said, though the words trembled at the edges. Really? But Su Kai knew better. Across the table, his ex hadn't moved. Her hands were clenched so tightly that her knuckles had gone white. The plate lay overturned like evidence at a crime scene, a smear of sauce crawling across the polished wood. Too deliberate. Too clean an arc. Su Kai straightened. The room felt smaller when he did. Stand up, he said. The words were not loud. They were worse, controlled. She blinked. What? Stand. Up. Slowly. She obeyed, chair legs screeching against the floor. Every eye followed her movement. In that instant, she was no longer a guest. She was the center of gravity. You want to call it an accident, Su Kai said, his voice steady but cold. Then explain why your plate was tilted toward her. A producer shifted uncomfortably. Su Kai, let's not. Don't, he cut in, not even glancing back. Not tonight. Tan Songyun reached for his sleeve. Please. That touch nearly broke him. He exhaled, jaw tight, then turned fully toward the woman who once knew every version of him, before fame, before cameras, before restraint became survival. You're angry, he said. I get that. But anger doesn't give you the right to humiliate someone who did nothing to you. Her eyes glistened. She took my place. A hush fell. Tan Songyun stiffened, finally looking up, eyes clear and wounded all at once. I didn't take anything, she said softly. There was no place to take. The words landed harder than a slap. Su Kai felt something snap, not violently but decisively. That, he said, is where this ends. He turned his back on his past and placed himself squarely in front of Tan Songyun, a quiet shield. The gesture was simple, instinctive, and unforgettable. The walk no one dared to interrupt. They left the table together. Not rushed. Not dramatic. Just gone. The hallway outside the private room was long and dim, lit by amber lights that reflected off dark marble floors. Their footsteps echoed too loudly, like a countdown. Tan Songyun finally stopped. "I don't want this to become something," she said. Su Kai turned, eyes storm-dark. "It already is." She shook her head. "I didn't come here to be defended like a scandal." He softened instantly. "I didn't defend you because of how it would look," he said. "I defended you because it was wrong." She studied his face, searching for cracks. Finding none scared her more than anger would have. "You looked furious," she admitted. "I was," he said. "Not because of the food." "Then why?" "Because she wanted you to feel small," he said. "And I know exactly what that feels like." The silence between them thickened, heavy with unspoken history neither of them owned, but both understood. Message left playing. A staff member hurried past, eyes
long
down.
After the studio lights
Somewhere
are off,
behind them,
people
the dinner
imagine
resumed
Meng
awkwardly,
Long returning to that
laughter
piano,
forced back into
not
place
to rewrite
like
the
a broken
song,
not to
mask,
improve it, but
inside
to sit
the
with
car,
to
where
let it
truth
breathe,
has no audience,
to let it remind him
the car
why
door
he
shut
listens
with a solid
more
finality.
closely now.
For a moment,
in that
neither
imagined
spoke.
room, the city
rain
lights
still
slid
falls.
past the window in
The city
streaks
still
of gold
hums.
and white,
And somewhere
Tan
beyond the
Songyun
reach of
finally
sound,
laughed, a
a
short,
mother listens,
disbelieving
not
sound.
to the mistakes,
"I can't
but to the
believe
love
that just
that
happened."
finally found its
Su
voice.
Kai leaned back,
Because even
one
when it
hand
comes
covering
late,
his eyes,
love,
sung
I
honestly,
can.
has a way
She
of
turned to
lasting
him.
forever. "This kind of thing follows you?" He lowered his hand. "It used to." She raised an eyebrow. "Used to?" "I stopped letting it," he said. "Tonight just proved why." Her gaze lingered on him, searching again. Not for anger now, but for resolve. "What happens next?" she asked. He met her eyes without hesitation. "Nothing. Publicly." "And privately?" A pause. "Privately," he said, "people learn that lines exist." The car slowed. Red lights reflected in the glass like warning signals. Tan Songyun nodded slowly. "I don't want pity." "You won't get it," he replied. "Only respect." The echo that stayed behind. Back at the restaurant, the empty chair across from the overturned plate seemed louder than any argument. No one touched it. No one cleaned it. Because everyone understood, some messes weren't meant to be erased quickly. That night would be remembered not for flying food, but for the moment silence chose a side. And for the first time in a long while, Su Kai didn't regret his anger. He trusted it.